So today is my first Blender tutorial that I will be doing on my channel. So today is going to be an in-depth tutorial about how to rig clothes to another model. So this is Summer Beach outfit by Sakari, I think. And then this is just a Sketchfab model that I didn't purchase it, but it's free. No, an SFW just for this purposes. So this is mostly for sculpting. So this is not made for this model. It is not rigged for this model, and we are going to make it fit this model. So after I import my model and import my clothes, we see here that they're not the same size. So what I'm going to do is press the scale, use this outer ring here, and scale it down to around where I want it. Line it up, get it around relatively close, so line up everything, like just get it relatively where you want it. To see through it, to make sure it's relative where you want it, you're going to press this little x-ray toggle right here and you can see through it. So my breasts are around where that is, my hips are around there. It's just an easier outline. And we don't really need this armature, but for sakes of sleeves, we can see this is in a T-pose. All you need to do is go to Cats plugin, you can find it online. Go to this named, is you press this, it's armature 2. So press armature 2, start pose mode. You're just gonna click one of them with your left click button on your mouse. And we are gonna go to this little wrench and screwdriver, press X-axis mirror mode. So now when you move one bone, you move the other. So we're just gonna move it down for sakes of sakes, just to show like, yeah. If it's a longer sleeve, I recommend lining up the arms instead of the body, just so you can get relatively where you want it. It doesn't need to be perfect. There's going to be clipping. All you just need to do is line it up. And you're going to press apply as rest pose and literally delete the armature. You don't need it anymore. Sometimes it'll shoot up into the air. Sometimes it'll get bigger. It doesn't matter. For sakes of sakes, I'm not going to use the necklace because that is not closed, is what I'm doing. So I am going to start by pressing Control click. Now you have both. We're going to right click, set origin to geometry. So now you can easily grab it, move it wherever you want, and all that. So I am going to start here with just the tops and the bottom. So I'm just gonna line it up relatively. I use the scale tool to line up the breast and butt, so I can do something like this and squeeze it in. So we see that this is like the same object. I don't want that. Say you want to be able, when you set up your model, to toggle each individual one. I'm going to show you the mesh way. So go into object mode, edit mode, transparency, click, and drag. You see how I got that? Just find the right angle, click, and drag. You're going to press P by selection. Then back into object mode. And there you go. Now you have two objects. So I'm going to line up this one a little bit better. Just get it relatively where you want. Mine is not going to be perfect, but just get it as perfect as you want on your end. I'm doing this just for time's sake, just so it's relatively, so just basically get it where you want. So for me, I'm just gonna do this, and then here we go. So that's fine. I'm gonna move a little bit up too, because we don't want it to be like, yeah, okay. All right. So I'm gonna start with the top here. So to be able, so you see your model's white and your shirt's white. We don't want that because you want to be able to see it and be able to see all those little clipping and all the little holes. So you're gonna go to the little red beach ball, scroll all the way down to these three lines right here, these three bars right here, and you're gonna just change the color. Sometimes you need to do all three of them. Sometimes you don't. Doesn't really matter what color you can change in Unity. It doesn't really matter. This color is not going to affect your avatar in Unity. So I'm actually going to rotate this a little bit since her breasts are more up more. There we go. That's perfect. We love that. So I'm going to start with this top. We're going to go into sculpting mode. Your controls are press shift and your mouse to move up and down. So shift in your scroll to move up and down. Press your scroll to rotate. And that's basically it. And then zoom in and zoom out, which is the normal toggling your scroll. So as we know that, so click shift, click cursor and drag. Shift, click up. Shift, and then click your cursor and then up. Cursor, drag this. So just cursor is turn. Shift, click your cursor, up is up. Sorry, it's a little bit confusing. So we see that this is fine, this is kind of fine, this is not fine. So we're gonna start with the front just to get all that clipping out of the way. So we're gonna use our little transparency, and this is how you get things super tight. So you're gonna use this thing called elastic deform, press it. I like to get it around the G of strength just because you want it to be super accurate. You don't want to have dramatic pulls. You want to have nice small pulls. So get it around the G, and then all you're going to do is click and drag the mesh out to where you can barely see it outside of it. So you see all that space. Click and drag inwards. You want to get as accurate as possible. So the farther out you zoom, the more mesh you grab. The further in you zoom, the smaller mesh you grab. You can see the difference here. So I want my front to be perfect. So right now it's pretty much where I want it. Don't worry about if it's clipping inside. We'll get to that point. So get your front wherever you want it of your shirt or whatever you're doing. Then we are going to go to our friendly little screwdriver and wrench. We're going to go down to symmetry, mirror symmetry to X. So now when I do one side, it does the other. So I'm going to scroll out a little bit because it's a lot of mesh. I'm just going to drag out and drag in exactly where I want it. Same thing with the back. I'm going to drag in. Drag in, drag out, drag in, drag in. Just get that nice and where you want it. It's okay if your first time is not going as smoothly as mine. It took me over 5 years to learn this tactic. It's pretty interesting. So I'm looking at every angle possible. So I'm looking at all of these angles to see the space. So you see over here, if I'm here, it looks fine. But if I'm here, it's not. So you need to look all throughout every angle of your avatar to see all of your sides of things. So out here, oh my gosh, I didn't even see that before. There you go, see? Because you move all the angles. So it's pretty much where I want it. For sakes of sakes, I'm just gonna not perfect it and just leave it like that. So next step is undoing it. And whoa, we have so much clipping. That's okay. We got it where we want it. We're gonna go to draw and we're gonna move it down to strength. So we're gonna move it down to the S, and all we're gonna do is just zoom out and click, 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 click. Just keep clicking and dragging. Click, 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 click. And then there we go. That's your top. So it's okay if you're not perfect your first time. All that matters is that that you got that shape. So going back with it, you're just gonna move things in a little bit more. If you want it super tight, if it's a tight fitting clothing, then you definitely want to go back and move everything around. It's all just about toggling in and out and then making sure that everything's good. So because you want it super low so you know exactly what you're doing. I did make a mistake there. With clipping, you want to have mirroring off. So, because clipping is going to be different on each side. So, make sure that everything's good, everything's clear. So now our top is finished. Coolio. So I'm going to start with, you might have some rigid edges because of moving everything around. So I'm going to use my favorite tool, the smooth tool. And literally, it smooths out edges. Literally, look at that, boom. It kind of has a mind of its own. See what I'm saying? Kind of has a mind of its own. You just want to get it to where you want it. If you got those weird edges like that, just grab your smooth tool and it'll smooth it out for you. Not perfectly how I wanted it to go, but you know. So I'm gonna have an example here. So there's this one vertex here that's just being a B, and you can see a little angle. You're gonna grab this sharp little grab tool, and literally it grabs one vertex and moves it. So if you really want to be perfectionist, use the grab to grab singular vertices and make a smooth transition with that. So now it's a nice smooth line. All good. All right, next is shorts. We are going to move on with that. Same tactic, same thing I'm gonna do. Try to do it on your own. I'm gonna start out, actually, you can do it any way that you want, so please, but I'm gonna start out with this butt because most of my shorts are already fitted pretty well. You're probably going to have underwear underneath this, but for sake of whatever, I'm just not going to have underwear. I'm just gonna be using clothes just for a little beginner. So, as we can see, the crotch is right here, and my crotch is right here. So you're going to zoom out. You're going to drag up. You want to get your crotch as smooth as possible. You want to get that crotch really tight on there, because when you're moving around in VR, you do not want people to see something that they should not be seeing. So, grabbing the crotch from the transparency button and moving it. I know I'm moving pretty fast, guys, but if you want, just take a minute, step away from your model and watch me and see how I'm doing it. And see what I'm doing. So pretty much, oops, boop, 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 boop. So boom, nice and tight. My model is flat, but your model might not be flat on the crotchal region. For males, the crotch is usually flat, but for females, it might have a little bump. It might have something there. It might have some nice kissy face. Get really close as what I showed you, smaller space, and move it around, and use your sculpt tool to really get it nice and close. So it's pretty close. I'm actually going to move it even further up just so it's nice and tight. So look at that. Super tight, super clean. My shirt is actually a little bit over here. You'll find things as you go on, but yeah. So next thing is the waistband. The waistband, I'm actually going to turn off my shirt so I can see it a little bit better. Is just to press this little I button. So my butt is like hanging out. So I'm literally just going to drag and pull. I'm not going to have the mirror on for this, just so I know exactly what I'm grabbing. For general grabbing like shirts, it's really easy. But we definitely want just to know what we're grabbing, because if we're grabbing here, we don't know what's happening over here. So boom, done. Whoa, so crazy. So we're gonna put on our other one. No clipping, it looks like nothing's really colliding or anything. So we are going to move on. I'm actually going to delete these because I'm not going to do these today. This is just more of a beginner. If people request me to do more stuff, then I will. So we are going to move on to data transferring. So I'm going to leave these separate. You can name them by double clicking. So I'm going to name these shorts. You don't have to do this step. I like to do this after everything's finished, but, you know, because you'll see what happens. Yeah, changes everything up. So I am going to do modifier properties. If you don't have this armature looking thing on your shirt, you are going to go modifier, and it should be armature, under deform, first one. You are going to check, so right here it just says armature. I'm just going to make this object armature and drag and drop. So how did I do that? Oh my gosh. So grabbing the shirt, shift click, drag, wait, is it shift? Ah, I forget now. It's grab, shift, drop. Grab, shift, drop. Next. Shorts, same thing, armature, boom, drag, shift, drop. Whoa, now it's a part of the model. So we are going to do a funny, cool looking doodad called data transferring. Whoa. So I am going to do my little green triangle here. This is all of the old bones that it was attached to. We don't need that. Delete. This little arrow, delete all groups. Same thing for the shorts, little thing, delete all groups. If there's shape keys underneath, so if the model had a breast slider, a butt slider, you don't need those anymore. Just literally do the same thing and delete all shape keys. Don't delete the basis, because that is what your model relates to when it comes to shape by default. So if I make a shape key here, which will be my next video, and I do this, it's relating back to basis when this goes to 0. So I am going to press on my shirt, the little wrench, add modifier, data transfer. Source is going to be Cupro. It should say body, so I will body, but it should say body or whatever you're trying to attach it to, whatever you're trying to make it move to. So my shirt, I'm trying to make it move to my body here. So shirt, body. Follow closely, because you're going to be pressing a couple buttons here, and after a while you're just going to get it, because right now all I do is go boom, boom, bam, boom, bop, and I'm done. Vertex data, arrow, vertex groups, generate data layers, arrow, apply. Play that back one more time, look at it. I'm going to do the same thing here and watch how fast I can do it now. Body, boom, 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 boom. All that happens. So now time for weight painting. Woo! Cool. Oh my gosh, I lost my pace. So I'm gonna go armature, and I'm gonna start with the shirt. So press armature, control, not shift, click the shirt. So if I do shift click, it selects everything. Control click only selects one at a time. Object mode, little weight paint mode's gonna pop up. If you don't see this, you press something wrong. Armature should be dark orange. Shirt should be light orange. File. Why am I going file? Weight paint mode. So, transparency mode helps you see all your bones. Control click is to press one singular bone every time and transfer in between. Shift click is, if you're pressing shift, it's going to press multiple bones. So just hold down control when you're touching bones. So, as we can see now, my model, it moves with everything. It's now weight painted to everything. Everything's good. I like to move everything around. After I press a bone, I press Control Z. So for every bone that it's applied to, you're going to use this blur tool. Increase the radius and just blur everything out. This helps horrible clipping. It gives it a nice smooth transition between the two. So I'm going to familiarize you guys with weight painting. Yay! So we have our draw button, which allows us to draw. Dark blue is no weight painting. Light blue is a little bit of weight painting. Green is more, yellow is more, and then there's red, which is fully attached. So, for example, here, I'm going to teach you guys how to stop this from happening. My model is not weight painted very well because this is not a VR chat avatar. It's not made for VR, so there's going to be a little bit less clipping on your end. So, as we can see here, I move my body to the right, and there's clipping up the wazoo. There's a lazy way of doing this, and there's a easier way of doing this. I'm going to show you the lazy way on here and here. So you're going to go back to object mode, go to your shirt, sculpting, draw, and literally just sculpt it. So now it doesn't clip anymore. That's the lazy way. If you go back to weight paint mode, this is the weight painting way. So your chest is allowing your shirt to move. So we're going to go to draw, go to subtract. Lower that radius, and I am going to take off all this weight painting right here. Always blur when you're done. Always blur when you're done, because you want to have that nice, I'm going to actually decrease my radius a little bit more. Come on, Buki. Come on. White paint. Something like that, I would just do the lazy way, because you're not going to get it perfect, and everyone freaking does it. So, get all those big holes out, but, so same thing, I'm going to do it back over here. Subtract all of that fun stuff, blur it out, subtract, blur it out. And now I'm going to fix it the smart way on this side. So it looks like to me that my upper chest, your model, most VR chat models do not have an upper chest. So this is your hips, spine, and chest. This is upper chest. Most models don't have this. So you don't really have to worry about this. But for me, I'm just going to show you for the cases of case, for sakes of sakes. So I know you see me moving super fast. Just take your time, watch the video. Don't work on your model until you're done watching it, and then watch it while you're making your model. It's just a lot better and a lot easier. I have ADHD, so I'm talking super fast. So I apologize. So I'm gonna fix the weight painting way. So we see here that your model, this chest is attached, so there's a little bit of blue. We don't want that because it's only supposed to be attached here on the chest. So I'm just going to take my subtract, and I'm going to subtract all the way. So we see these little weird radiuses here. We're going to press add and add to make sure it's only attached here. You're going to have breastbones. This model does not have breastbones, so apologies. Oh, look at me. I didn't even blur. Probably why it was doing that. But there we go. So it's all about figuring out what's supposed to be attached to what. So really, my chest, none of this should be any color. None of this should be any color, because I'm not attached to that. So it's just finding what needs to be attached to what. So I'm going to press stop pose mode because I pressed a multiple amount of bones just to get it back to the same shape. So yeah. So next step is grab your waist bone and move your model around like a Beyblade. If your vertices, so I'm going to give you an example here. Well, usually, vertices are going to go and they're going to stick somewhere else. Good way to find that out too is to move your model. Move the hips of your model and drag it to one side. So I'm going to undo just so I can show you guys what happens here. So I'm going to drag my model all the mesh is attached. But if I do this, and this, there's something wrong. Find that mesh on the bone, press add, and just click it once. There you go. But mine's already all attached, so we're all good. But yeah, I've made that mistake so many times where I've been in VR and I'm looking at my model. I'm like, what is that vertice doing? It's all the way across the map. It's because I didn't grab my hips, drag it, and watch and see if anything's stuck. So no, cool. Shirt is basically done. It's not perfect with weight painting because I'm just doing this for teaching purposes. So next we're going to do some shorts. Shorts are difficult. I'm letting you know shorts are difficult, especially for big-legged models. So first what we're going to do, you know it, we love it. We're gonna blur. You're going to have butt bones. Mine does not have butt bones for the sake of teaching. So we are just going to blend, 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 blend. All done. All right. We are going to move our leg bones. Mine is not weight painted. Oh, right. Okay. So, as we can see, the model is like, it's way too attached on the legs. All the mesh is going to one side. So I'm just going to press subtract and subtract. Oh, I can't because my model's weight painted weird. This model's weight painted funky because it's not a VR chat model. But you can see all the mesh is going to one side. So I apologize for that. But your hips should not have any weight painting from the legs. So it should be weight painted better. But so what you want to do is you want to make sure that none of this side is weight painted here. So if you open your legs and your mesh is like stretching out, go to one side, make sure nothing's weight painted from this side so the mesh isn't trying to attach itself to this side. You just want to make sure that your mesh is relative to where you want it. For the shorts, it's kind of difficult for me to teach you weight painting on this model, but at least we did the top. So then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, appreciate you guys for watching. If you want more, tutorials, just let me know. And yeah, so bye. See y'all later. Thanks for watching.